fans killing him on Twitter. We got the footage of this dude attempting to sabotage Shedeur Sanders during the Pittsburgh Steelers game and causing one of Shedeur Sanders' two interceptions. We got to get into this, man. Interception. Look at Cam Robinson on this play, man. Look at him on this play. Come on, man. Come on, man. Sabotage, sabotage, sabotage. That's ridiculous. How does he just nudge you out of the way like that? How does he just nudge you out of the way like that?
Game is over. Why is 68 still in this game? Why is he on the team? Why is he in the NFL? He is the worst lineman I've ever seen in my life. This is the second half. He done gave up a sack. He done gave up 2 false starts. He done gave up a holding. And we're still in our first possession.
Cam Robinson didn't just have a bad game.
Cam Robinson didn't just have a bad game. He had a moment that changed everything. One play, one mistake. And suddenly, fingers are pointing at who really hurt Shedeur. Now the truth is out, and the regret is hitting fast. What stands out first is how unfair this situation was for Shedeur. Young quarterbacks already have enough pressure, and they rely heavily on their offensive line to do one basic job, that is to protect them. On this play, instead of holding his ground, Cam Robinson looks slow, careless, and completely out of sync. That too, when there's no urgency, no fight, no awareness of what's happening behind him. Shedeur does what quarterbacks are taught to do: trust the pocket and make the read. But that trust gets broken instantly. When protection collapses in such a lazy way, the quarterback is left with no real option. That interception did not come from panic or bad decision-making by Shedeur. It came from a pocket that was never real to begin with. When your lineman barely puts up resistance, the whole play is already dead. As the game goes on, the problem only gets worse. And that's where the frustration really grows. This isn't a one-time slip or a tough matchup. It becomes a pattern. Cam Robinson keeps making mistake after mistake, killing momentum before the offense can even breathe. False starts, holding calls, sacks allowed, all stacking up in a short stretch of time. That kind of performance doesn't just hurt the stat sheet, it breaks rhythm and confidence. Every drive starts feeling longer than it should. Meanwhile, Shedeur is still standing in there, still trying to move the ball, still taking hits that should never reach him. At some point, it stops being about talent and starts being about effort and focus. And Cam Robinson shows neither. What makes this even harder to ignore is that Shedeur keeps competing despite all of it. He doesn't point fingers, he doesn't quit on plays, and he doesn't let frustration show in his body language. He's trying to lead while being put in bad positions, snap after snap. A quarterback can only do so much when the people in front of him don't hold their end of the deal. This isn't about protecting feelings, it's about accountability. If a lineman can't protect, can't avoid basic penalties, and can't show awareness, then he becomes a liability, not a teammate.
Please!
The people have seen enough. The people have seen enough of Cam Robinson. I got footage to get into. Look at these fans. Pretty sure I don't need to watch Cam Robinson play football for a while. Cam Robinson is the worst football player I've ever seen. He's ass. Cam Robinson might be the worst football player I've ever seen. Browns old lineman Cam Robinson shouldn't play another NFL snap. He plays so bad, it looked like he cheating for the other teams. Sabotage. It ain't just me that see it. It's not just me. Let's take a look.
Shedeur deserved better support in that game, and Cam Robinson's performance is a clear example of how one weak link can drag an entire offense down. At this point, it's not just one voice saying this, it's the fans, the tape, and the results, all saying the same thing. People have watched enough snaps to know when something is clearly wrong, and with Cam Robinson, it's obvious. The frustration is not coming from one bad play or one rough drive. It's coming from repeated moments where the effort looks weak and the awareness looks missing. When fans stop wanting to even see a player on the field, that says a lot. Meanwhile, Shedeur is out there trying to lead, trying to build confidence, trying to keep drives alive. And he's doing it while knowing the protection in front of him can fall apart at any second. That kind of situation puts a young quarterback in survival mode, and that's not how you develop or win. What really makes this worse is how the mistakes feel less like accidents and more like a pattern that keeps hurting the team. Missed blocks, poor positioning, and slow reactions make it look like Cam Robinson is always a step behind the play. When a lineman plays like that, it doesn't just affect one snap, it affects the entire offense's mindset. Shedeur has to rush reads, move earlier than he should, and throw under pressure that should never be there. Instead of letting the play develop, he's forced to clean up someone else's mess. That's how interceptions happen, not because the quarterback lacks skill, but because the structure around him collapses. Shedeur shows poise, toughness, and leadership, but no quarterback can succeed when the basics up front are broken. The fact that former players are noticing it too only adds more weight to the criticism. When people who have played the game at a high level point out the same issues fans are seeing, it confirms that this isn't exaggeration. Football is about trust, and Cam Robinson has lost that trust completely. It reaches a point where his presence hurts more than it helps, and that's the harsh truth. Shedeur deserves linemen who fight, who stay disciplined, and who protect their quarterback like it matters, because it does. Watching Shedeur take unnecessary hits, while still standing tall, says everything about his character. Watching Cam Robinson struggle again and again, says everything about why the blame keeps landing on him.
Yeah, and then like you say, that Cam Robinson on that left tackle, oh my God. Yeah. If there's not a stunt where that D-line goes inside and there's nobody covering him, it's a beeline to Shedeur every time. It's like he's not even there. And I literally feel like I could play better left tackle than him at this point. You give me a helmet and some shoulder pads, and I'm at least chop the D in or do something to slow him down. Right now, they're not even getting slowed down, and it's crazy. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. That is a former Browns player, a Super Bowl champion, a Pro Bowler, who did it at the highest of high levels.
Watching that left tackle spot feels like watching a door.
Watching that left tackle spot feels like watching a door left wide open. Every snap, it's the same story. If the defense doesn't even try anything fancy, if there's no stunt or twist, the rusher has a straight, clean path to Shedeur. It looks like Cam Robinson isn't even part of the play. There's no wall, no resistance, no slowing anyone down. That's the most basic job of a left tackle, and it's not getting done. Shedeur drops back, expecting protection, trusting that someone is guarding his blind side. Instead, he's instantly under threat. That forces him to rush, move early, or throw before he wants to. None of that is on the quarterback. That's a young quarterback being put in a bad spot by someone who's supposed to protect him at all costs. What makes it more frustrating is how low the effort level looks. It's not about getting beat by an elite move. It's about barely getting a hand on the defender. At the very least, alignment should slow someone down, disrupt timing, and make the rusher work. Here, defenders are flying through untouched, like they're running drills. That's unacceptable at this level. Shedeur keeps standing in, keeps trying to make plays, keeps taking hits that should never happen. You can see the toughness and leadership in him, because he doesn't complain, he just keeps going. But no quarterback, especially a young one, should be asked to survive like that. Protection isn't optional, it's the foundation. And right now, that foundation is crumbling. What really seals it is who's saying it. When someone who played the game, won a Super Bowl, made Pro Bowls, and lived at the highest level points this out, it's not noise, it's truth. That kind of voice knows what real offensive line play looks like. And this isn't it. Shedeur is showing poise, confidence, and fight, despite the chaos around him. Cam Robinson, on the other hand, looks overwhelmed, outmatched, and disconnected from the moment. Football is about trust, and that trust is gone. Shedeur deserves protection that lets him grow, lead, and show his full talent. Not protection that disappears the moment the ball is snapped.
If you want to look at his resume, part of what his resume is, you got this year where he got some hits, and I think it was a really nice class, but also you can't run from the fact that, guess what? You do got some misses up front, and the offensive line is terrible right now. Now, Jason did say, which is correct, that you can't fix it all in one offseason. So guess what? You're going to have the he will be judged if he is staying, and that's up to Jimmy Haslam. If he's staying, he will be judged, not on this class. He's going to be judged on this upcoming class.
No, it's a make or break.
And let me tell you something.
100%.
He's not only going to have to hit. He hit on these ones, he's going to have to hit on these ones and he's going to have massive jumps in terms of the guys who we drafted last year to be impact. Because I already done told you, if they do keep him, there is going to be a limit on wins. If he is staying, he's the last guy. He outlived everybody. He outlived Deshaun Watson, D. Podesta, Stefanski, Alex Van Pelt, all the coordinators. He'll be the last one standing. If you thought they got 4 or 5 wins this year and it wasn't good enough, he's going to have to get 7, 8 wins next year.
Jay,
Yeah, and you are not going to get 7 or 8 wins with Cam Robinson and all these bums you got on the offensive line that are sabotaging people, man. It is ridiculous.
When you really break this down, it all comes back to accountability at the top.
When you really break this down, it all comes back to accountability at the top and protection on the field. Draft picks and resumes can look nice on paper, but games are won in the trenches. And right now, the offensive line is failing the team. Nobody is pretending this problem started overnight. And nobody seriously believes it can be fixed in one off-season either. But that doesn't erase the damage being done right now. Shedeur is being placed in a situation where the support around him is clearly not ready. He's expected to grow, lead, and win while the foundation in front of him is shaky at best. That's not fair to any quarterback, especially one who is still building his NFL identity. If leadership stays in place, then the standard has to change immediately. Next season becomes a straight make-or-break moment, not just for front office decisions, but for the players who are still being trusted with key roles. There can be no more excuses about development or patience if the same mistakes keep showing up every week. Improvement has to be real and visible. Shedeur can only elevate the team so much on his own. Quarterbacks don't block defenders. They don't stop pressure with willpower alone. If the players drafted last year don't take real steps forward and the new additions don't deliver impact, the results will stay the same. Wins don't magically appear. They come from solid protection, discipline, and effort. All things Shedeur is already showing from his side. And this is where the offensive line, especially players like Cam Robinson, become impossible to ignore. You simply are not reaching 7 or 8 wins with protection this bad. You can't build confidence, rhythm, or consistency when defenders are hitting the quarterback untouched. That kind of play doesn't just stall drives. It hurts development and kills belief. Shedeur is doing his part, standing in, taking hits, staying composed, and competing every snap. But no quarterback should have to fight his own protection unit to survive a game. If real progress is the goal, then changes up front are not optional. Until Shedeur gets linemen who actually protect him, all the talk about wins, resumes, and future success is just noise. At the end of the day, Shedeur was put in bad positions, and the damage came from the protection breaking down. When a lineman becomes a liability, regret always follows. And that's exactly what this situation shows. If you want honest breakdowns and real football talk, hit subscribe and stay locked in. Do you think the Browns can truly move forward with this offensive line? Or does it have to be blown up to protect Shedeur?